Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy that you're here. And before I get into today's video, I just want to say thank you very much for each and every one of you that have subscribed. We are officially 1 week old, and I am so happy that you guys have joined me on this journey. And I urge all of you that haven't subscribed to please subscribe and help support the channel and get the message as far as we can. Okay, so today's video is about depression. I know that it's a widely spoken and spread topic these days. It's like everywhere in the media, people are talking about it. But I always just feel like it is not, it's not put out there. No, I don't. I feel that the way that it has been spoken about and put out there has lost its essence. Not to say that it's not being communicated or spoken about correctly, but I just feel like the focus isn't more on it being a illness, like a psychological illness that needs to be treated, but rather something that somebody finds themselves having because they've lost a job, they don't have a job, they're under pressure, their friends are working, they're not working, and all of those things. But I just want to try and bring in a little bit more about this, because depression is far more than just being sad. We all become sad from time to time. We all have bad days. We all don't want to wake up. We all just feel. But once you start feeling sad and you can't snap out of it for a week, for 2 weeks, once you feel guilty and ashamed and you lose interest in things that you like, and you just don't want to see anybody, and it feels like the walls are just closing in on you, then that's the depression. Well, of course, the losing a job and your friends succeeding and you not succeeding, losing a loved one, and all of these things, they are all triggers of depression. They will trigger it. But I believe that, like I mentioned in the other video, that you can have poor mental health with no mental illness. So I think that sometimes, say you get retrenched and you have bills to pay and there's so many things that you're responsible for and all of that, that situation is going to trigger you and push you into depression. But you are still somebody that's sane. Not that when you're depressed you're not sane, but you are still somebody that can look for a job, get out of that funk, or gets family to assist or whatever, and then you'll be okay. But when you find yourself for no apparent reason feeling sad, and you don't understand why, and you feel everything wrong that's happened in your life, you feel, excuse me, you feel like I just feel like a failure, or I can't go on, or when you just have all these things. And sometimes in very serious cases, it's when you feel suicidal, where you feel like the world would be a better place without you. You look around, you don't think anybody cares about you, nobody feels anything for you. You are all alone in the world. You can be in a group of people and still feel like you are alone. You want to sleep all the time, or you can't sleep at all. You want to eat all the time, or you don't want to eat at all. You just act very different from how everyday people act. And that's when you are supposed to then look into it and get professional help. And like most mental illnesses, depression is very difficult to explain, to make the next person understand. It's very difficult to try and tell somebody that, look, I've been feeling sad. Like, huh? Feeling sad? Why? I don't know. Really? You're feeling sad but you don't know? But that's just how it feels. You feel like you are clogged in. You feel like nobody can see through you, and you need somebody to be there for you, but you don't know how to let them in because you yourself don't understand what's going on. It's a very difficult thing to really put into words, and there's no single word or one way to explain. As difficult as it is, as hard as it is to express yourself to the next person or even to yourself, however you are feeling is valid. However you are feeling is okay. Well, it's not okay, but it's valid. Don't be thinking to yourself that, no, maybe I'm just imagining things, or no, maybe it's valid. It's no less real than having a headache or having a stomach ache or any physical illness that people experience. It is valid, it is real, and you need to give yourself the love that you so desperately seek. You need to pay attention to how you're feeling. You need to be the person that you can be for yourself. Read up about it. Find out if you can get somebody to help you. Speak out, reach out. I'm also here. Ask questions and get the help that you need. Depression is real and it's a silent killer. And my issue is, I am very happy that finally, unlike maybe 5-10 years ago where nobody really spoke about depression, now it's like you hear about it on Facebook, social media, everywhere. Everyone is talking. The world is finally open to talking about mental illness, depression. But I just feel that the focus isn't on saying depression is an illness, but rather this and this and this are what causes depression. And I don't believe that that's true, because, well, I don't believe that that's entirely true, because I know that these things can push somebody to fall into depression, but they are not limited. The bigger picture of it is this is an illness that needs attention. So you'll hear people saying things like, oh, this and this and this happened. Now people are going to come around and say that they are depressed, and then they're this and they're this. And it's kind of downplaying the realness of what depression really is. It's downplaying the severity and what it really is and could end up. Honest, I think on the flip side, I kind of understand why people will not really get how being sad, because depressed people really look sad. How being sad can now be said is an illness, because people just think that you can just snap out of it and you're good to go. But it's deeper than that. It's harder than that. Sometimes for people that have depression as an illness, it does not have to be triggered by anything. Like, you can be going on your day, like having a lovely day, and then you just see a picture of something or hear a sound or a thought come to mind, and immediately you'd find yourself drifting away from these good emotions that you are feeling and leaning towards feeling down and miserable and not wanting to go out, and all of those things. I'm saying this from my point of view and from what I've experienced and what I feel, that as much as we're encouraging people to talk about how they feel, as much as we're encouraging people to normalize speaking about, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling this, I'm depressed, I'm this, we must not now make depression we must not make it seem like if you have depression, then it's something to be ashamed of. If you have depression, it's because you are in this situation, and so this is why this happens. Sad for the longest time, if you're feeling miserable, if you're feeling down, if you're feeling guilty, if you're feeling empty, if you feel dark, if you feel like you want to die, if you feel like you are alone and nobody loves you, maybe it's time to really step back and just look inside yourself and see if you have a depression as an illness. The one thing that I always tell people to do is, you can just go on Google and you can type depression symptoms quiz. There are a lot of thousands of quizzes where you get like a lot of questions where you'll be asked like, have you been feeling sad for the past 2 weeks? Have you been able to do this, wada, wada, wada? And depending on the answers, it then systematically calculates, so to speak, and then give you if you are depressed, if you're just going a bad time, or you know what I mean. I won't say it's like once you've done that, then for sure you have mental illness, or this is what you do so that you know where you are. It's just to give you an understanding, or rather give you a picture of where you are, why you're feeling like that, and maybe then give you that extra push to say, you know what, maybe I really need to see somebody, maybe I need to talk about this. They always say that it's not a substitute for medical assistance. You still need to get medical intervention. You need to go to see a psychologist, you need to see a psychiatrist, but just like how I am telling you about this as a means to an end, to say, look, if this is how you're feeling, it's valid and you need to get help, and it's an illness and it's okay. You're not dying, or you're not abnormal, or it's something that happens and it can be treated. I'm not a medical profession by any means. I never been a doctor, I've never treated anybody, but I'm just coming to you to tell you that I myself suffer from depression, and it doesn't have to be triggered by anything, really. I sometimes I'll be just chilling and having a good time at work, maybe you're talking to a friend, or just at home, just sitting, minding my own business, and before I know it, my spirit will dampen, it will go down, and then I would feel sad, and then I would want to just switch off the lights and sleep and not wake up. I don't. And unfortunately for me, when I'm depressed, like when I'm really in that state, I'm always suicidal, like always. I can be talking to you and telling you that, you know what, I've been feeling so good, I've been feeling great, I'm looking forward to the next 2 months or 2 years or whatever, be happy and planning and whatever. But once depression knocks, I would find myself squeezed into a corner and not able to see any possibility out. Even though I know that what I'm feeling is not true, I can't trust that I'm useless, that I'm all these things that my mind be telling me, but also I cannot fight these feelings off. They are just there. So I I don't know how normal or how usual the suicidal thoughts for other people are. But for me, I know that once I feel like really down, really depressed, and in that funk, then I just want to die. I will find myself looking up to see what I can drink to die. I imagine myself in my head like my funeral day, all of those things. It's just all, my mind just turn around. You see this me that's talking about this and is telling you that this is how it feels and this is not what, I become a totally different person. I become, I don't want to say like something takes over me, even though it does, but I feel offbeat. I feel like I'm an unnecessary problem to the world, that nobody really needs me, and I start judging myself. I start feeling guilty for things that I have nothing to do with. I feel bad for the stupidest things. I'll be hard on myself that, yeah, that's why this and this didn't work out. It's because Belle, you're not supposed to be here, and what, and all of those things. That's just my mind lying to me. And I can tell you the number of times that I've gone as close as attempted, but since my diagnosis, I have not really acted on it. The furthest I've gone was write a suicide note. That's it. And fortunately enough, it was found. It's always found, and then I'll be taken to the doctor and then be helped to come back to reality. So it's something that happens. It happens to the best of us, and I know that it's an illness, and I know that if I'm there, even though at the time I would not have the strength to say, Nontobeko, you know what, this is not true, this is not real, you are better than this, you can't believe this, and all those self-talks, maybe at the time I would just want to lay on the floor and just close everything off. At least I've got the understanding that it's not permanent, it's not going to be there forever, I'm going to be okay. But before that, I was also like the rest of the world. Like, I didn't know what was happening to me. I'd be standing, like, doing my own thing, and I would feel the soles of my feet burning. Like, something was burning underneath my feet. Or I would feel like when I closed my eyes, I would not be able to breathe. I'd be so anxious and so scared and feel like the world is ending, or I'm going to die, or somebody's going to come for me. And then you just feel all these ugly emotions coming together, and you just want to die. I've tried to cut myself 100 times. I used to cut my wrist. I used to drink methylated spirits. I used to do all these things hoping to die. And there's been incidents where it was a very close call, but I'm still here, and I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad that it didn't work. I think the reason why I'm telling this story is because I find it very sad that people still think that people that are suicidal are selfish. I find it very disturbing that nobody actually takes time to, well, not nobody, but those people never take time to sit back and say, but why would such a vibrant person, or why would someone that's willed, that has hands, that can think, that can want to die? Why? What's going on? We always just think, oh, you want to die, then it's fine. To take this rope, hang yourself, or whatever. Nobody, I've never heard of anybody telling a story where somebody stepped in. We always just think that they're selfish, they're thinking of themselves only, and they don't care about their families, they don't care about their kids, they don't care about their friends, they're just caring about themselves. But I will tell you this right now, from my experience, from my life, that no person that's in their right minds would want to kill themselves. Nobody. Once you get to that point, that state of saying, you know what, I don't want to be here anymore, it's because you are so deep in and you don't know how to come out. And once a person mentions that they want to die, the least you can do is to just be there for them and remind them that they are loved, and ask them if there's anything that you can do to make them feel better. Usually you're going to be rejected, but you just need to keep in mind. Nobody wants to die. I always imagine to myself and think that, imagine if I actually die when I did that. Look how beautiful life is. I didn't want to die, but it's how I was feeling, is what my mind was telling me, that led me to think and believe that I wanted to die. Nobody in their right minds will just want to die. Whether it's a high school student that failed matric and want to kill themselves, it's not that because they failed, they think that now they're killing themselves. It's because the feelings they are feeling at the time, they are so intense that their minds cannot comprehend, they cannot accept the reality of failing, and they just can't see a tomorrow from there. You don't push a person to say, okay, zibulale vele asinandaba nawe yifa, or nomona yini into ongayitholi siyakondla, you have clothes, you go to school, you have this, you have shelter, it's bigger than that. Trust me, we know that we are loved, we know that we have clothes, we know that we have parents, we know that the world is not that bad. But when you are in that state, it's very, very difficult for you to pull yourself out. So I'm going to urge you, before I close this, if you are feeling, as I've mentioned, please pay attention and seek help. If you know of somebody that's been feeling sad and feeling down, and you suspect that they are maybe depressed, just be there for them and ask them if there's anything you can do. Be supportive. Be the friend that they need, or that they don't think they need. Be there for them. It can be cured for some people. For others, it can be controlled, like myself. So it's never like the end of the world. There's always ways to help you cope and move on and live beyond the depression. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for the subscribing, the liking. Thank you so much. Please share this video. Make sure that you subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a beautiful day. And